This is actually a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. Hey Max, you gonna be in this too? So Max is gonna join us for this video. Hello and welcome to me sitting down and talking to a camera on this channel. It's a little bit more of a formal setup than you might be used to seeing here, but bear with me. So one of the things that I really want to focus on this year is being as transparent and open as I possibly can. I have noticed recently that one of the things that is holding me back from accepting and moving forward in my life is holding on to and keeping all of these secrets. Things that I have deemed in my own head too shameful to share and to be open about. I feel ready, I feel prepared, I feel willing to be open and honest with you guys, the world, my family, my friends, anyone really that wants to listen and to know me, things that have made me the person that I am today, both the good and bad things. And yeah, we're just gonna get stuck right into it. So if you are not new to my channel, you will have seen that we have 2 young babies. What you have not seen, however, is that we also have had 4 other babies that ended in miscarriage. I haven't really delved into it because, to be honest, back then I hadn't really processed it. I didn't really have a handle on how to process it, whereas now I feel like I'm in a good state of mind to look back and reflect on what I went through and to talk about how it has affected me as a person today. 3 of these miscarriages happened before I had April, and I had them quite close together and in consecutive order before I fell pregnant. The first miscarriage that I had was actually in June of 2014, and it was before we got married. I found out that I was pregnant. I took a pregnancy test and everything. It said yes, it was a positive pregnancy test. I went to the doctor, I had a blood test. They said yes, that you are pregnant. I don't know whether or not it was more just me not comprehending that I was pregnant or whether or not I really did feel something was off. There was always just this little bit of something in the back of my mind that told me this isn't actually going to happen. Because we did talk about postponing the wedding, we talked about postponing the honeymoon, which was all booked and ready to go for. We talked about all of that, but at the same time, I was very adamant, no, we should wait. We should definitely just wait. So we just went about our normal daily lives. We didn't tell anyone. I didn't really let it sink in to my everyday life. The only thing I kept thinking was occasionally I'd be like, oh, that's right, that's happening. Then about a week or so after I took the pregnancy test, I did actually notice I started to bleed. We went straight to hospital. I spent the entire day in hospital, having multiple blood tests, being watched. At this stage, I knew within me that I had lost the baby, but at the same time, no one could actually tell me that. No one actually said to me, yes, you have had a miscarriage. I don't really know what was happening. I just remember being handed this piece of paper talking about miscarriage, but no one actually said the words to me. There was nothing. It was just, your levels have dropped, they're not picking up, here's this piece of paper, come back to us in a couple of days to check your levels again. There was no talk about, you know, a D&C. At this stage, I would have been about 7 or 8 weeks pregnant, and I just was very frustrated because I felt like my heart knew that I'd had the miscarriage, but my head didn't yet because I hadn't heard the words from anybody. I really just needed someone to actually tell me that I've had a miscarriage or that I was having a miscarriage, because I still had in my head, is this actually happening or is it not? Because I feel like it's not, but no one's really confirming that and no one's confirming the opposite, and I'm just stuck in this little like midpoint of not knowing which way to go. Without going into too much detail, and I really don't want to trigger anyone here, there was a point during that week when I realized myself that I had miscarried, and I was able to actually accept it and move on. I went to the doctor, I confirmed it with them, and everything kind of just moved on from there. We just kind of went on living. There was no moment of, you know, grief or moment to realize what has happened, because it was such a slow process as well. It happened over the course of about a week and a half of when I started to bleed to when I actually was like, okay, yes, I've miscarried. We went on planning the wedding, we had the wedding, we went on our honeymoon, and when we got back from our honeymoon, I had another miscarriage. Now this miscarriage was a little bit different to the first one because I didn't actually take a pregnancy test at the time. However, I did go to the doctor and have a blood test, and they detected the hormone level in my blood. It was very, very minimal, but there was the hormone level, which meant that there was something that was happening, but I was already miscarrying at this point. For my estimation, I was probably around about 5 weeks pregnant, and that was in November 2014. And the last miscarriage I had before we fell pregnant with April was in late January 2015. This was very similar to the one previous to that. I didn't actually take a pregnancy test, but again, there was detected levels in my blood, and also like the first one, I knew that I had had a miscarriage, so there was no real question about it in my head. So after talking to a friend about it, I decided to actually seek out help with an obstetrician, and they sort of walked me through what to do. We checked all of our stuff. So I got checked, Ray got checked, our blood levels got checked, there was no miscommunication going on with our genetics. Everything seemed relatively normal, so they couldn't really give us an answer either as to why these miscarriages were happening. And a few short months after we went and saw the obstetrician, I actually fell pregnant, and I went straight back to the obstetrician. I was about 5 weeks pregnant, and I started the process to help me keep the baby in terms of upping my hormones and having regular ultrasound checks. Because of the miscarriages in the past, I took a long time to actually accept that I was pregnant. To be honest, I probably didn't start accepting the fact that I was pregnant until I started feeling movement. There was something stopping me from loving this baby, from loving this pregnancy, because I didn't want to experience that loss again. And to be honest, that greatly impacted how I handled pregnancy. I didn't enjoy pregnancy anyway for a whole bunch of other reasons, but this was definitely one of the reasons that I didn't allow myself to enjoy pregnancy. The next one was a bit difficult to talk about because it's still kind of fresh. Whew, okay. I have had a miscarriage actually quite recently, and I have been debating whether or not I even talk about this or even get it out into the world. I haven't told many people in my life. Oh god, okay, get through this, Lauren, get through it. Okay, about 2 months ago now, I felt extremely positive that I was pregnant. I just had a feeling. I wasn't late yet, but I was coming up to it. So I'm not going to go into too much detail because, as I said, it is quite fresh still in my head. However, I knew that I had miscarried again, much like the previous miscarriages. I just knew without going into too much detail, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. It was kind of like all of the previous miscarriages caught up with this one, and I felt them all at once. In particular because when I had the miscarriages in the past, I didn't have anything to relate the babies to. I didn't have children of my own already to look at and think that's what this could have been. Whereas this time, when I lost the pregnancy, I looked at my children and I thought, that's what I've lost. You know, that's what I could have had, but I'm not going to have it anymore. And the other confusing part to this is I didn't want to be pregnant again. I really didn't. I mean, Ray had a vasectomy and everything. It was just one of those things where it just happened. Just a quick side note, he has had his vasectomy checked and everything is good from now on. We're good, we're covered. I do actually have a lot of shame and guilt about the grief that I'm feeling about it, because it feels like I'm not allowed to be sad about it, because I didn't necessarily want to be pregnant or want to have another baby. Something that I am still working on to this day, and that is to not beat myself up for the feelings that I have. I want anyone to realize out there that no matter how or why or when or any of that, if you have experienced a loss, you are allowed to grieve. You are allowed to feel sad, to feel angry, to feel frustrated. You're allowed to feel whatever you feel. I lost 4 babies, and they're babies that I will never meet. They're babies that were not meant to be part of this world, and I am slowly but surely starting to accept that and realize that, rather than beat myself up for something that I had no control over. It is one of the hardest things for me in this world to understand that I have no control over something and it is not my fault. Okay, this video is getting quite raw and emotional and real, so I'm going to start wrapping it up. To anybody that is watching this and has gone through something similar or is going through something similar, I am extremely sorry for what you're going through and what you've gone through. It is such a hard thing to process. There is no manual or pamphlet or anything like that that can guide you how to feel something like this. It hits you and it's there. This is something that has made me the person I am today. I have gone through 4 miscarriages, but I have also gone through 2 full-term pregnancies that have ended in healthy, beautiful babies. I'm extremely grateful to have the 2 babies that I have, and I'm also grateful to learn from the experience that I've gone through with the loss, and to understand it more on a deeper level. In a way, this last miscarriage actually helped me grieve and process the first 3, and I don't think I realized that I needed that. Okay, so as I said at the start, this is going to be, in my mind, some sort of series where I sit down and talk about something honestly and openly that has made me the person that I am today, and that I share an experience with you that I hope will help someone out there. To everybody watching, my heart goes out to you. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you for being a part of this journey with me. You are all wonderful, and I will see you all in the next video.